I want to talk a little bit first about nationwide injunctions. I think Senator Moody was starting to ask you just a moment ago. I think this is a vital issue. Tell me what you understand the scope of, if you were to be confirmed, tell me what you understand the scope of your equitable powers to be to grant injunctive relief. To whom could you grant it, under what circumstances? I think this is an issue of vital importance. It's been something that has been discussed on a bipartisan basis here. So let me start with you, Mr. Fowlkes. Am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Fowlkes, just like a bunch of folks. Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. Mr. Fowlkes, and then we'll go down the dais. Go ahead.
As I understand it, the issue of injunctions and temporary restraining orders are controlled by the provisions of Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 65, and pursuant to that rule and the cases that have been interpreted that rule, there's a series of factors that courts have typically considered in whether or not a temporary restraining order or an injunction is appropriate. And those begin with the likelihood of whether or not one of the parties, the moving party, will succeed at trial, the irreparable harm that may be possible if the order is not granted, the possibility of a public interest in that order, and several other factors.
All of that sounds correct. Can you, is it your understanding, can you bind parties, should you be confirmed, could you as a district court judge, could you bind parties who are not before you?
It is a very developing area of the law, and that my understanding is that power would be limited by the case law from the Supreme Court and also by the federal rules of civil procedure.
Well, tell me what you think the relevant case law from the court is. I assume you're talking about the CASA case, but
yes,
tell
Senator.
me about it.
In the CASA case, the court determined that that was a power that should be reserved to the Congress for a nationwide, authority over certain issues. And I think that it has modified our previous understanding of Federal Rule Civil Procedure 65. And I think, again, it's a very developing area of the law, and it would be very fact determinative and very fact specific. But I think that going forward, it is an important case for every district court judge to keep in mind.
Well, do you think that there are some instances in which, are you telling me you think you can, as a district court judge, there are some instances as a district court judge where you could bind parties who are not before you?
I think we're still understanding the court's ruling in CASA, and we're still kind of developing procedures that go along with that. And so it would be highly unusual and certainly challengeable in court.
Well, what's the basic rule that you understand the Supreme Court to have laid down on the CASA case? Let me ask it that way.
The basic rule is that a nationwide injunction that enjoins people who aren't before the court would be exceeding the court's power in that respect.
Okay, good.